In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an assembly and then a corridor, and then using that corridor, I'm going to show you how to do spot grades on the front of your lot lines. All right, we're going to start with the example that we did before because we already have the plan and profile. So you have to have a profile, a proposed profile, or a profile to create the spot grades. All right, so I'm going to come over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an assembly that represents this area here, okay? Now, on this, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create the assembly. The assembly is basically a cross-section of what the roadway looks like. So we know that we have, let's check this out, make sure I've got my dimensions set. So annotate. From the center line to the edge of pavement is 11 feet. And we know we have I'm going to turn my snaps off. We know we have a 2-foot curb and gutter. And we also know we have a grass area, a lawn, that's 7. And we know we have a 5-foot sidewalk. All right, so that's going to be mirrored about the center line. All right, so let's get started on the assembly. Go to the Home tab, and up here, you're going to pull this tab down for pallets, and you need to find the pallet with this symbol here. Tool pallets. When that pops up, you should get a tool pallet that looks like this, because this is out of the box. I didn't do anything different. I didn't download anything. So you should have this. So it's going to have lanes in it. It's going to have shoulders in it. It's going to have medians, curbs, all different types of curbs and gutters. Daylight means you're tying down to existing grade. Generic is you can build what you want. We'll be using some of these. We won't be using all of them. You have conditional sub-assemblies, trench pipes, etc. So the ones that I'm going to use, and some of these are new to the Civil 3D. So you've got rails, bridges, and rehab and mill and overlay. So that means you're rebuilding a roadway or something. We're going to use lanes. We are going to use curbs. We're going to use daylight, and we're going to use trench. Okay, so let's get started. I want to create an assembly. So coming up here on your Home tab, you're going to create a assembly. So you're going to pull this down, you're going to go create assembly. And I'm going to say 50-foot right-of-way. So we're going to make 2 assemblies today, a 50-foot right-of-way and a 56.5-foot right-of-way. The one with the parallel parking in it. All right. I'm going to leave everything else as default, and then I'm going to go OK. It's going to ask me where to place the assembly baseline. I usually place my assemblies over by the profile, so I'm just going to put it right here, and it should automatically jump. So this is the center line of your road. We're going to start with an 11-foot lane. I'm going to build it out, and I'm going to show you how to modify the information to match the cross-section we want to build. So I'm going to start out with lane super elevation. That's the one that I want. You could try different ones, but these are the ones that I typically use. And I'm going to click on the center line, and it's going to build me a base roadway. So if I look at this, you can see that it's a 12-foot road, okay, underneath the advanced parameters. If yours is collapsed down, just bring it out like this. So we're only going to look at the advanced parameters. And I'm going to change it here and say that it's an 11-foot lane. The cross slope means from the center line down, it's going -2%, and that is exactly what we want. All right. The next thing that I want to build is I want to build my curb and gutter. So I'm going to click on curbs. We are going to use the urban curb and gutter general. I'm going to click on that. The company you work for may have different ones. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to snap to this position right here. You may have a circle here. You may have I've always seen it with magenta, so this might be a new thing. But I need you to click, it says select the marker within the marker point within the assembly, and this is where I want it selected, right there. See how it attaches? So it's basically, this one is a F curve. I'm going to go ahead and use an F curve. If you accidentally selected the wrong curve, go ahead and delete it. Here is a valley curve, and you can click here, and there's your valley curve. Okay, it's kind of like your Miami curve. But I'm going to go ahead and use an F curve. So I'm going to delete that and go back to the urban curve and gutter. And I'm going to select the top one. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to build is that 7-foot grass area. So the 7-foot grass area, I'm going to use a generic. Okay, there's different ways to do it. I'm going to use generic. I'm going to use the length, width, and slope. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to attach it here. Okay. Let me step back and also show you this. So if I go to annotate a line, I don't want to use a line, I'm going to use linear. From this point right here, I'm snapping end point to end point. That's my 2-foot curve. Okay, just to let you know. All right, so back to the grass area. So this is going to be 7 feet. I'm going to go 7 feet, and I'm going to use 6%. Okay, Osceola County requires 6%. Other people use 1%. We're just trying to get the water in this area to drain to the street as fast. Well, if it was as fast as possible, we would steepen the slope, but 6% is fine. The next thing that we want to do is we're going to build a sidewalk. Now, you can do the sidewalk with the length and width, or you can use the, I'm looking for, not that, I forgot which one it was. Not curves. Wanted to say it was underneath general, but apparently I am, no matter. All right, I'm going to go ahead then and use generic. That really bothers me. I could have sworn. There used to be a basic lane and there used to be a general tab. Oh, let me check down here. See if I've got more. Each time AutoCAD comes out with a new program, it might come out with different information, or they may repackage it. So apparently I'm sorry, it's underneath basic, not general. So underneath basic, I want basic lane. And I'm going to click over here. The only reason I do basic lane is because I could have used this for my typical lane. And the reason I'm not is you can use Civil 3D to do quantities. And if you take a look at how this is structured, you'll have an asphalt layer, a base layer, and a sub grade layer. So when you're doing quantities, sometimes when you're doing the assemblies, it's important to build layer. The other reason I'm doing that is I sometimes use these cross sections or these sub-assemblies as my cross sections. So that's why I wanted to use underneath basic, the basic lane, because it's a thickness that I can change. So the width of the sidewalk is going to be 5 feet. The depth of the sidewalk, it's going to be a 4-inch thick sidewalk. So I'm going to change that to 0.33. And the slope, this one, instead of it being -2%, it's going to be a +2% because I want it to drain toward the road. The other thing that I want to add is I'm going to go back to the generic and I'm going to add a length and width. The reason I'm doing this is sometimes when you go around curves, remember how I told you about the triangular, the 10, the triangle irregular network? When you're on a straight road, the corridor works well and the surface works well. But when you take a curve, the curve does not work well with the corridor and surface because it's on a, well, it's on a curve, and the 10 is on straight angles. So the interpolation is not very good. So what I do is I add a length and width, a length, width, and slope out. So that means usually I'll do 10 feet and I'll do 1% away. Okay, now here's the thing. This is part of the lot grading, and we'll change this in a minute, but it's also part of the lot grading, and lots have a minimum slope of 1%. Now, some lots need to have steeper slopes because of the types of soils that they're there. When the soils aren't good and the water does not permeate into the ground very fast, then you might want a steeper slope. All right, now, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, I need to mirror this assembly because it is on each side. So I also want to double check, and I want to check my linear. And from this point to this point, you can see it's 25 feet. So I'll have a 50-foot right-of-way when I mirror this. This isn't part of the right-of-way. This is actually going to be part of your lot. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So I'm going to select all of these, and when you select all of these, you're going to get a contextual ribbon up here at the top, and you are going to use this mirror command. Using MI for mirror does not work. Let me repeat that. MI for mirror does not work. You have to select the assemblies, and you have to use this mirror command. So you're going to click on mirror, and you're going to mirror. It says select marker point within this assembly for the mirrored sub-assemblies. I'm going to select this one. Now I have a mirrored sub-assembly. All right, so now I'm going to create the second sub-assembly. So I'm going to go to the home. I'm going to click on this, and it'll give me my assemblies. Now I am going to click on this one and create a sub-assembly, create assembly. I'm going to say 56.5 foot right-of-way with parallel parking on right side. It matters if it's right or left. So when you're looking at alignment, your right side, your station, you're starting from your 10 plus 0, 0, going to, let's say, 11 plus 0, 0, the right side, you're looking up the stationing. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to click OK. Now, it says pick a baseline. I'm going to pick a baseline here. I'm going to pick my lanes. So I'm going to go a little bit faster. I'm going to pick that one. I am going to pick my curb and gutter. I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to select this point here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go generic, length and width. I'm going to pick that one. Oops, I picked the wrong one. So I'm going to move it to here. So you can move it like that. You can't just use the move command though. And I am going to go to basic, and I'm going to pick this one. And then I'm going to go back to generic, and I'm going to pick length, width, and slope. All right. Now, I should have drawn, I'm going to go ahead and fix this. So I said before that the lanes were 11 feet, so I can change that. And then I said this was 7 feet and 6%. Okay. And then I said this was 5 feet, 0.33 at a positive 2%. And then I said this was 10 feet. Notice it says away from curb or crown. You can do towards crown. So that just depends on the percent slope. And I'm going to leave that at, and change that to 1%. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mirror this about the center line. All right. So here's the thing is I actually said that I wanted a parking here. So I need to, I'm going to just delete this. Now there's two ways to do it. You can go ahead and keep all of this and just add a, I'm going to add a lane. And I'm going to add it here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this, and I'm going to move that to here. All right, so we said this was going to be 6 feet, and it's still at negative 2%. Okay, so if I measured this, I'm going to go annotate linear. If I measured this from back of sidewalk to back of sidewalk, I said 56 and a half. It's actually 56. 6. I lied. This parallel should be 6.5, because Osceola County says you have to have 8 foot. So this here, 8 feet parallel parking. This here is where you're going to get part of your parking in. So 8, 6, and that should have been 1.5. I'm not going to worry about that. But normal parallel parking, you have 1.5 feet here. This one's actually a little bit off. I'm not gonna change this. This will work for us right now. But normally, this would equal 8 feet. Right now it's 7.83. This assembly here can be modified. See how it says 1.2 here? I believe that should 1.3. I'm not going to mess with this right now because these are in inches. Let me check some math here. 16. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to change it to 18. There we go. The only thing is it measures out. Let me double check this. See how it measures out 1.17. So this here needs to change. One of them 6. I'm going to change that to 6 inches. Nope. That's not the one I want. Oops, that's not what I want. Don't follow me here. All right, so I'm going to leave this as is. I'm going to change that back to 16. All right, but you can manipulate the assemblies. I just don't remember the one that I need to manipulate. There it is. That's the one I wanted. So I lied. I'm going to change that back. Now it's 2 feet. I'll get there. Okay, so I'm going to generically put it like that. I'm going to delete my dimensions out. Normally when you work for a company, they will have all the proper assemblies that you need, but you can manipulate them like I just did. All right. So this is our 2 assemblies. So this is how you make the assemblies. So the next video, I'll show you how to create the corridor.